Hi, welcome to Spiritual Connection. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So I'm an energy healer, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I'm a transformation coach. I'm also the spiritual head of Transformation Center CT, which is located in Westport, Connecticut. So at the center, we do a variety of trainings, we have workshops, we have satsang once a month, which is Sanskrit for in the company of the truth. And that's generally the fourth or the fifth Wednesday of every month in the evening. So we'd be happy for you to join us for that. It's an evening, just an hour really, of meditation. We do some chanting, we talk a little bit, and then we have refreshments at the end. So check it out on the website, Transformation Center CT. So the Spiritual Connection show is all about connecting with each other, as well as connecting more fully with our spiritual selves. And as you know, I have a different guest each week, so you get to find out more about what they do, their spiritual journey, anything that resonates with you. And you're welcome to contact them. We'll tell you how to get in touch with them throughout the show and at the end, and just learn anything you can. So thanks again for joining us tonight. So my guest tonight is Shaneé Fulton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Katie.
I'm so happy to meet you. This is the first time we've actually
Yes.
met. Yeah, so I know you do have a business partner, and she couldn't join us tonight, but
Yes.
you can share a little bit about her later on. But I'm just going to say a little bit about you for our audience because they don't know you. So what you sent me. Yeah, so Shaneé is a partner and owner of, and she operates herself Free Within Yoga, which is based right here in Norwalk, Connecticut. Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking forward to seeing that and hearing all about it. And Shaneé is also a spiritual Reiki practitioner, so you have a regular practice.
Yes, I do.
Doing Reiki, healing. And she shared with me that she lived in California, in Los Angeles, right?
Yep,
for
right in
4
Los Angeles.
years.
Yep.
But she's back in Connecticut because she's a native of Norwalk and is living in Bridgeport, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, the reason that she shared that she wanted to start the Free Within Yoga was to really bring the mindfulness and spirituality to a community that may not have access to it. It's a little bit different way.
Yes.
So I'm really happy that you did that, and I can't wait to see your location.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to learn about it, but first, I always ask my guests, can you share a little bit with us about your spiritual journey thus far?
I mean, it's been a journey. It started around 10 or 11 with my partner with Free Within. Her name is Heather. We used to go to a little store in South Norwalk, right down the street from Famous Pizza House that had. It was more of a Wicca store, but they had a lot of spirituality there. We would spend like our days there one summer, and that was the first time I ever had, access to something that wasn't organized religion. So,
Yeah.
And so as the years have progressed, I've kind of been on my own journey of spirituality, finding out about different religions. I remember I looked into the Kabbalah one time. I've been really interested in Buddhism at one point. And then when I landed in LA, which is just like a hot spot for spirituality, I had access to so many different people and different ideas and thoughts. And that's where I became a Reiki practitioner. That's where I've done all my Reiki training is in Los Angeles.
I see.
And I've done like some meditations before. I've done a 10-day silent meditation retreat back in 2011 that kind of helped transcend some old past traumas. But as we know with healing, it kind of never is really done. It's always like a continual process.
Yeah.
So I say, even in the last 2 weeks, I've been doing some healing and journaling and writing down what things I've uncovered that I've kind of just, kind of tried to forget about.
Tried to push down a little bit.
Push down to kind of be in survival mode. So I'm really trying to come out of that and kind of resonate a little higher and be more in that space of that force of kind of godlike space.
Yeah, because I think eventually it does come up and out, and so the more we can assist it, It really helps, right?
It does. It's scary though sometimes, especially when you're not taught that, how to kind of push past some of those things that hold you back or have you thinking in a certain pattern or a certain cycle,
Right.
because your mind is trained to be like in survival mode. So when you kind of push past those barriers, it can be very, very scary. And when my mom passed away, I think it propelled me even more to kind of get an understanding of more of a spiritual understanding, because I didn't really have that person there all the time.
Oh, so that was your mother recently passed
in
away?
2017.
Okay.
Yep.
Just
So it's been about a year.
ago.
I mean, 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it that drew you to learn the Reiki modality?
So it's an interesting story. My mom passed away and I was in Connecticut for like a month, and then my life was in LA. So I moved back to LA, even though all my family and friends are here in Connecticut. And so I was trying to find a way to still connect with her, even though there were things that were happening around where she was very present, but I just was all like, grief just does something weird to you. So I started to take a mediumship course. And in the mediumship course, we would meditate, and certain things would come up during the meditation, and people would say, oh, I felt this about you, or I felt X, Y, and Z. And so one day my hands were tingling, and the girl sitting right next to me was like, oh, my hands are tingling too. I feel like we're connected. And they're like, have you ever heard of Reiki? And I'm like, no. I hadn't heard of it, even though I've been a part of some interesting groups along the way. So they were like, you should look into getting trained in Reiki. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I did a few courses, and I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you can like literally feel the energy once you're really connected. So.
Yeah. It's a great form of energy healing. I haven't practiced Reiki myself, but I did a similar energy healing course, and got certified in that. And I think it's amazing how helpful it can be for people who don't. You don't even really need to know what it is that you're holding on to in a way. It's because it's just stuck energy, right? And
you just need to get it out in some way, move and shift it.
Yeah. I mean, other types of, therapy are obviously helpful, but this is just a different animal altogether, right?
Yeah. I feel like other therapy with some more, spiritual practice is like a very holistic way to look at healing.
Right, combined. It's like it's something for everyone, or every part of us in a way, because a lot of us are in our head all the time.
All the time.
That's a challenge to get out of your head, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a challenge. And, my generation, we're always on our phones, so then you don't have a lot of time to process what's going on in your head. So I try to find some regular time to just even meditate for 2 minutes, even if it's like me just sitting in the car and kind of recentering myself before I have to go somewhere. It does help a lot.
Yeah, I think it's great that a lot of places, the schools and different places are teaching the children to do that now. I mean, think about that. If we had had that tool our whole lives, how much, I don't know. Seems like it would have been a little better. Yeah,
been able to regulate some things and navigate things a little differently then.
Yeah, and the ability to just kind of reframe and see things differently.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they're teaching the kids to do that. That we're in control of our thoughts, not the other way around.
Exactly.
Exactly. Have to listen to a little voice in our head all the time. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you do have a regular Reiki practice that you do.
I do. Yeah.
In addition to the yoga studio.
Yeah. So I've been doing Reiki out of my home.
Okay.
That I also share with Heather, my best friend. I'll have my friends come over, and I don't have them pay for anything. I just do it out of like the kindness of my heart to kind of get more of a practice going.
Yeah.
But we do have a Reiki room at our studio. So yeah, we have a Reiki room, and then we have like the big studio part where the yoga and meditation and other gatherings occur. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And so your studio is it's right on Main?
It's 430 Main Avenue in Norwalk.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, near Evans Hotel. It's like right next to that hotel.
Oh, sure,
yeah.
sure.
It's in the back. It's on the second floor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so you've been there for about a year now?
Well, we acquired the studio from someone else who already had a yoga studio, and we opened in April of this year. So we're very new. We're a very new studio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and did you change the name? Is this this is
We
a new
did.
name?
It was a different yoga studio before, so we changed the name to
What
Free
was the
Within.
old name?
Paz Yoga.
Paz Yoga. Okay. And I love the name.
Oh, thank you.
Free Within.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we were trying to figure out different names. I have a bunch of different things on my refrigerator. I used to go to a church in LA called Agape. So I had something from Agape on there. I had some other things, and on like centering your chakras. And I'm like, I don't know what to name this studio. So I wrote down a few different names, and I sent them to Heather, my partner, my business partner, and so she liked that one the most out of the ones that I sent, and that's the one we went with, Free Within Yoga Studio.
Well, it has a lot of meaning, obviously, you know, and it can be broader than just yoga too, because you have the Reiki and what else do you envision?
We envision making it more of a community for groups to have mindfulness practice there, meditation. I'm very into meditation. I feel like that's how I got more into the spiritual practice. We want to have like little courses. I have a friend who is a vegan. We'd like to have her come up and do some courses on, you know, cooking healthy dinners for families or for busy professionals like myself.
Yeah.
We want to be able to offer Reiki and anything else, and just like a community of practitioners to come and use the studio for other purposes if they like.
That's awesome. That's so interesting, because one of my visions, like, oh gosh, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, was to have that situate like a center where you could have, you know, the whole community. Like it sounds crazy, but like whatever you need, you can find there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
on
so many different levels. And I never did find another space, but then I said, well, why can't I just do it in my home?
Exactly.
So that's when I started the Transformation Center, because that's what we do, you know. It's not like a yoga studio. It's not ideal because it's not a yoga studio, but it has plenty of space, and you know, I have the healing room there, and then the satsang room. So anyway, that's so interesting that we have the same vision.
Yeah,
because there's such a need for it.
There is a huge need for it.
You can't have too many. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. I also feel like maybe just comparing, because I'm from Connecticut and then moving to Los Angeles and then coming back.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, I feel like there were so many different places to tap into those, like that space. Here, you really have to kind of dig and find,
look for it.
You know, people who are into Reiki or meditation or yoga or, you know, anything that's not, you know, organized like religion.
Yeah, like mainstream.
Yeah. I feel like you had to like dig a bit to find that.
Well, do you sense though that things are shifting a little bit in that regard?
I do. I think, you know, as a society, people are more open to things that aren't necessarily what we've known for years. Before I left LA, moving back here, I went to see a shaman, and he spoke about like the divine feminine coming back into the consciousness. And I never looked at it like that, because I didn't even know what divine feminine or masculine was until we had that conversation. And now it makes sense of more people becoming conscious of like spirituality. There's more to, you know, life than what meets the eye or what is said or what's told. It's also about how it feels, and does it feel good, and kind of breaking down those old patterns of behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many layers.
Oh goodness, so many.
You know, and I think that's really a lot of what it's about is peeling back the layers, you know, because when we're born, when we're little, we come into the world just pretty clean, you know, pretty pure, and then we have all these kind of layers that come on top of it. So
on top of it,
spend a lot of time clearing them away, right?
Lots of time, lots of layers, and lots of different ideas or thought processes that aren't even necessarily yours all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
I think that's what happens. And so we find out like who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're doing this. It's really, it seems like a really necessary step, but I also perceive that things are shifting, that more people are becoming aware and wanting something more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's kind of where I was 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. It's like I knew I had a great life, but something was missing.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think other people are in that situation. Like they know it's not about the house. It's not about the car. It's not about their material things. So what else is there?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, hello.
Yeah, there's so much more.
Yeah.
And I think even being so young, like just in comparison to like find that there's more to life than the car, the house, you know.
Yeah, right.
You know.
And I love that there's so many even younger people than you involved in this work now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you said you recently joined the TLC
Yes.
network, or it's a group of holistic practitioners that we meet and share information, share resources, and take turns having things at each other's places. And there's so many young people that are involved.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think we need it, especially in today's society. We need something, like you said, something that's more. So, yeah.
Right. And I think the kids are starting to learn, like we were talking about earlier. So we need to be there, have all the resources in place, so where it's just a natural evolution. Where you don't have to search for it, like you're saying. You don't have to go around hunting for it. It's available.
Yeah, hunting for the knowledge that, like for me, just felt so, like it resonated with me. It felt so in place with like where I was in life. It didn't feel like someone was preaching at me. It didn't feel like I was judged. It was like, if this is where you are, work through this right now and then keep going. It felt so much more peaceful to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a very natural process.
Very natural, yeah.
Yeah, if you had thought like, so this is fairly recent for you, so how many years do you estimate you've been?
In spiritual practice?
Yeah.
I want to say on and off since I was about 17. I mean, like I said, I was introduced to it when I was 11.
That's right, when you were 11 or 12, yeah.
But like since I was 17 is when I kind of really start to get more into the different things that were out there. And then LA was like where it blossomed. I started listening. I had a life coach who was really into Marianne Williamson. I love her.
Yeah.
So I started to really get into her stuff.
Yeah.
And she would go to the spiritual center I would go to. And then I found a shaman. I mean, it was just like this process. And I was like, I didn't know all this was out here.
But you had to go to LA to find it.
That's
How
where
old
I
were
found
you
it.
when you
I moved
there?
to LA when I was 29. Yep, 29, and I turned 30 there.
That's interesting. That's
yeah.
when I moved to New York when I was 29. So what took you out to LA?
So what I do for my day job, I'm a speech language pathologist.
Oh, okay.
So when I graduated graduate school, I was like, okay, I got all these calls about job offers where, you can go anywhere. And I had visited San Diego, and I was like, I like San Diego, but I don't know. So I went to LA for 1 week. By myself, like I was living there, pretend, and I was like, oh, I love it. And it just felt like I was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And that's where I was.
And you were there for quite a while.
Yeah, I loved it. So,
what else did you love about it besides the access to everything spiritual? And
there's always something to do, the weather. And I feel like, you can just be whoever you want to be there. It is really hard to connect with people, but when you find your group of people to connect with, they're right there. So I still have friends in LA who I talk to regularly. It's a great place to just be whoever you want to be.
Be yourself. That's really true.
Yeah, it's just so free and carefree.
I haven't spent a lot of time there, so.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the traffic and the cost of living, it is a great place. The sun and all that. I loved it.
Yeah. So you'll still go back and visit.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
But your family is here.
All my family is here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All my family.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're back in Connecticut.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been great opening up the studio and finding TLC, because like, now I'm like, oh, there are other people into the things that I'm into in Connecticut. I just didn't know of them before.
Right. So. Well, it sounds like you have your hands full because you have this full-time job. As a speech pathologist. Are you working with schools now? Or?
No, I don't do schools anymore. I used to. I do. I have a private practice in Los Angeles still, but I do early intervention. So I do in-home therapy for families who kids are going through birth to 3, and I find that I like it because it's not. I don't want to say it's informal, but it's a way for me to mesh my healing part of myself and my therapist part of myself, because a lot of families that I work with are low income or they come from culturally disproportionate backgrounds, that kind of thing. So I'm able to share my story with the families and help them with some resources and some access to meditation, mindfulness.
That's awesome.
I talk a lot about trauma with families, and I share some of my, emotionally traumatic experiences through my life, and just try to help them get to the next level with their child. So
what a great service. Before you said that, I was thinking that's a nice merge of what you do, your healing.
It is. I've meditated with some families. They've never meditated in their life, and they're like, what's going to happen? And I'm like, let's just, have a moment, and I have an app on my phone with the chime. I set it, and we meditate, and we'll have like a reflective kind of thing afterwards. Like, did anything come up? How do you feel afterwards? And then we go forward. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's
that
good.
You're able to combine those. They get a two for
yes.
one.
2 for 1. Yeah.
And then you can invite them to come to your center, your studio, so you're not going to rename it once you broaden it. It's still going to be Free Within.
Yes, it's still going to be Free Within. I think we'll keep it the name. I love the name, and our logo kind of fits right into it. So yeah.
Maybe you could just add like Free Within yoga and more. I don't know.
Right? Something to incorporate all the other things we want to kind of expand to do.
Yeah. But I do love that name.
Thank you.
And I know you have an active Facebook following.
Yes,
so
we
we're
do.
We're going to put up your Facebook.
Thank you.
At the end. And so before we start to wrap up, what else would you like to share with the audience about yourself, or anything else that you think would be helpful for them?
I'm not really sure. I feel like I've shared a lot.
Anything else on your journey that would...
I feel like just start the journey.
Just start.
Start, even if it, like, I've been journaling since I was 8.
Okay, so
and
journaling.
I still have all my journals since I was 8 years old.
That's amazing.
And I feel like that is a good way to help release some, kind of pent up stuff. So things will come up for me in my meditations, or even in my dreams, that I'll write out, and I'm like, okay, this is what this means. And also too, I feel like especially in communities, minority communities, seeing a therapist or meditating isn't necessarily always something that we access or we're taught to access. Okay. So I feel like, speaking about mental health is really important to me in those communities that suffer a lot of trauma from different things. So getting, a therapist and seeing someone to help heal and move through those things. And I offer Reiki. I offer it at no cost to anyone, because some people they don't have the money to afford those things. So I don't want it to be a luxury. I want it to be more something that people can access if they need it.
That's wonderful. So it's your mission.
Yeah.
It's from your heart.
It is, yeah. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Because I recently became aware of and started working a little bit with a group in Bridgeport that it's like a re-entry program, and they have one combined for men and women, and then they have a separate one just for women. It's called Her Time.
Oh, nice.
And I recently went to one of their meetings, and I kind of did the same thing. I said, you know what, I'm a resource. Just call me. I'll just do this for you. Yeah. Coaching, healing, whatever you want. Because I think you're right. It's not the first thing that they think of. It's not just like, oh, I think I'm going to go get a healing today, or a coaching session or anything. And, affordability is a big part of it,
It's
certainly.
A huge part.
And most, insurance doesn't always cover alternative kinds of healing. So that's great that you're that resource for your community. I think that's really, because I think it all starts for me, and what I work with people on is self-awareness, like you were saying, and they may not know the tools.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn the tools. I was in my 30s when I learned the tools.
Well, I was a lot older than that.
So it takes a while to learn those tools to help you just feel better as a person and be able to be not even successful, but feel whole and happy.
Just be yourself,
and be yourself,
really.
And be comfortable with being yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. And less judgmental and, all those things that were that are thrown at us in inadvertent ways, like just to be yourself and let other people be themselves and even still be able to love them even if they're themselves.
Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And share the love and be there for them. So I'm really, I'm happy that you were able to join us tonight.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and keep us posted, through your Facebook if there's any events that you have coming up.
We post our events every week, so they're all up there. So, yep.
Yeah, and you have different teachers that come in to teach your yoga, or who does that for you?
We do have different teachers, and we're in a transition right now. We don't have any yoga classes right now. We stopped them as of last week because we want to expand more into kind of opening up as a community.
I see.
Yeah, so we stopped the yoga classes last week. There's one teacher who may be coming in because she has a huge following of people, and so we may be having new yoga teachers come in as time goes on, but we're opening up to more like groups that want to do mindfulness meditation, practitioners who want to have their clients there in a space. I mean, it's huge windows. The energy in that space feels amazing. So it's a good space for healing.
Do you have yoga nidra classes?
Yes, we do. Yeah, they had one 2 nights ago.
Okay. Yeah. Because I would be happy to come and offer that.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Or is it only in the evening that you're open?
No, I mean we can be there anytime. So people have classes whenever they choose to.
Okay. Yeah. But most of your clientele would prefer an evening.
Evening, weekends. We have people come on weekends. We try to get people to come in from the office buildings around during lunch to kind of do like mindfulness or yoga during that time, but America, we're so work, so no one's really kind of come in, but
All right, well, I'll be in touch with you and we can figure something out.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Shaneé, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Really happy to meet you.
Same here.
Yeah. And thank you to our audience for watching this episode of Spiritual Connection. Hope to see you on the next one. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn, signing off. Thank you and blessings. Good night. That went fast.